You're watching Bermuda Tonight. It's Friday, April the 12th, 2019. I'm Diane Brewer, and thank you for joining us. Topping our news, a Supreme Court jury unanimously found 54-year-old Pernell Brangman guilty on all 3 counts of sexual exploitation and having unlawful carnal knowledge of a 10-year-old girl in the late 1990s. Jasmine Patterson tells us more.
The victim was 10 and 11 years of age when Pernell Brangman of Southampton sexually exploited her 2 decades ago. She tearfully recounted the abuse in court yesterday, describing how Brangman manipulated her to perform sex acts on several occasions between 1997 and 98. He would often visit the girl during her summer holidays, and he was in a position of trust. She testified that as a child, she did not realize what was happening to her was wrong, and later told him to stop. As an adult, she said she felt shame and wanted to put the incidents behind her. A formal report was filed to police by the victim in September 2017. Brangman, a hotel worker, called no witnesses to the stand nor gave testimony in his own defense. The jury delivered a unanimous verdict after 2 hours of deliberations at the Supreme Court today. Prosecutors said Brangman knew the victim had previously been sexually assaulted and took advantage of the young girl. She added, "We do have a child sex abuse in our country. Back in the day, no one discussed it or even reported it, but we have come far in educating our countrymen on child sex abuse." The Crown asked that he is remanded to custody pending a sentencing date, and the defense called for a social inquiry report. Justice Carlo Graves set the matter down for the June arraignment session when a sentencing date is expected. Jasmine Patterson reporting for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Thanks, Jasmine. Meanwhile, child sexual abuse prevention charity SCAR says the man in this case displayed typical behaviors of grooming.
Most of all, we're grateful to the survivor for using her voice, for having the courage. And, this was definitely, from what I read, this was a classic case of how child sex offenders groom children to gain sexual satisfaction from them, And how do child sex offenders groom children and 10-year-olds? By using favorite foods, as in this case, or a gift, or many other grooming techniques and favors, manipulate their young and confused minds. As a country which is blessed not to have a statute of limitations, this is an example that it is never too late to hold accountable someone who steals innocence when you're young. This is an example of what happens in a country when 15% of an adult population is educated in child sexual abuse and understands grooming. And our hope is that this brave survivor received validation today, received affirmation today, and trust in a system that can work. And we applaud her.